Hey, and welcome back to me talking for way too long about something I care about way too much. I swear this video is going to be a deep dive into what I call the Owl City lore. Partially what inspired this video is just that Fireflies had a resurgence in its meme value, which it is a very good song and I'm sure people appreciate it as a good song. But Owl City is something that's been near and dear to my heart since at least 2009 when I was like 12 years old. I just have a lot of thoughts about a lot of things, and one of those things is Owl City. I want to preface this video by saying I'm not the final authority on Owl City lore, besides Adam Young himself. What I am saying is that this is what my first pair of Converse looked like. I'm gonna start with my introduction to Owl City because I'm the most important thing here. This video is me talking, and then I'll go back in time and start from the beginning of what at least is known about Adam Young's early works and move forward. So imagine you're me. It's 2009 and you're in your best friend's bedroom. This best friend always seems to have like the down low on new music and knows it and thinks she's better than you, and maybe she is in that moment, but like you're 12 so it doesn't matter. You've always been the weird kid, and suddenly your ears are met with a song called The Tip of the Iceberg by some dude who calls himself Owl City. Your world of music has been limited to whatever your parents would play on the radio in the mornings before school. Sometimes it was just clean versions of popular songs, but usually it was Christian rock and or country. So this funky guy is singing about God knows what with lyrics like swallow a drop of gravel and blacktop because the road tastes like winter green. Huh? Anyway, I decided to dedicate the rest of my life to this man. So one of his first projects was Port Blue. It's still just him, but it was around 2006, and it's more of just ambient music. There's no lyrics or anything. I've used to really enjoy it. I haven't listened to it in a while. It existed before and outside of Owl City. After that was Sky Sailing, which was one of his more official first projects. He released that himself. Port Blue was kind of like tucked by the wayside. Like we found it, but he didn't super advertise it like he did with Sky Sailing, which he released after Owl City was already established. But that was around 2007 when he was doing Sky Sailing, and it's mostly just acoustic guitar and vocals. Very different from what we know of Owl City. So I know you're here to learn about Owl City, you've been taking notes. I'm getting to it, but I feel like I need to round out Adam Young because that is Owl City, and I care way too much. So now we're here. We're talking about Owl City. First, the name of the fans. We are called Hoot Owls. I wish I knew why. I wish I could meet the person who coined that term. I don't really know. The extent of my knowledge is that there was a contest on MySpace and Owl City fans on there coined the term. Come on. For a while, people tried to call themselves Owl Citizens, which arguably is both better and worse. Also, when around 2008-2009, when I discovered Owl City, Adam at the time was posting weekly blogs. It was every Monday. His blog wasn't dedicated to any one thing. It wasn't just like him talking about his life all the time, which there were some. Others were just like word vomit and making up stories. Here's the thing about Owl City before I get into more of the blogs. He is the king of the LOL random XD humor, but like he's good at it. And I think the reason it works for him is because he's not trying. He's not a try-hard. He doesn't do it for the purpose of being the funny random guy. He just is. There's a sincerity to it that I don't think really exists anymore, or exists outside of the time that that kind of humor was popular, which it kind of is. The like deep fried memes and stuff is just LOL random humor. It's just like the Gen Z version of it that we'll all look back at and cringe. Except for me. You have to live for and through the cringe. Anyway, I truly believe this is just how his mind works, and he is sharing that with us. He was a random dude in 2008, and he still is in 2022. And one thing I love about him is that he's consistent. Like, I'm sure he's grown as a human in many ways that we'll never know because he's a very private person. But whenever he posts something, I still see that 2008 Adam personality and humor. He is just himself. So to get into his blog posts, I've picked a few of my favorites, the ones that stood out in my brain like years removed. I hadn't read the blog in close to 10 years, and those still stuck in my brain, almost verbatim, some of them. One of the first notable ones to me is when he had kidney stones. He had kidney stones, he had to go to the hospital, and they put him on a lot of drugs to help with the pain. And during that time, he like blacked out and wrote this novel on his laptop that he has no memory of writing. and then just posted it unedited to his blog. And it it is both very poetic and of course very like random. I'll just read like a short excerpt. I had you all figured out until your voice echoed through the alley and bounced off my bedroom window. I was drifting to somewhere lonely and secluded. I was thinking about Seattle. Shut up with the broccoli. I built you a sandcastle because you're a princess, but I tore it down because I'm a loser. There's bits of it that are genuinely very poetic, and then I honestly recommend going back and reading through his blogs if you have any interest in having a laugh. Also, just like imagery, if that makes any sense. That's a lot of Owl City's writing and music, is he just kind of like paints a word picture. It's not necessarily telling a story, but just sort of, that's the best I can describe it, is painting a word picture in your brain. He's just describing sensation, sound, touch, smell, taste. Just that blog alone is honestly one of the most beautiful and absurd things I've ever read. The fact that he did this while drugged up and has no memory of it and it's still a work of art, I think Adam Young might actually unironically be a genius. He's just so low-key and private about it and down to earth that it's not obvious, and we may never know. And it makes me wonder like what he writes about now without the blog. I desperately want to peek into his computer's hard drive, not for any nefarious purpose. I gotta know what's going on in there. It's been years. This guy's just out there, just like wandering the streets with all this going on in his head. I gotta know. This is the last thing I'm gonna bring up about the blog. I am convinced that this man started the trend of calling yourself an introvert, or even knowing what introvert and extrovert are. You didn't describe yourself as an introvert or an extrovert. You were just shy or outgoing. I first read that word, to my memory, in an Owl City blog post back in 2009 and decided, okay, that's my identity now, and felt like a god when I got to be the person to teach everyone that word. Or if they were adults, I reminded them that it existed. It really wasn't a thing. And a lot of Owl City fans started referring to themselves as introverts, or just having general conversation around the idea of introvert versus extrovert. I could be wrong about this. I often am. I'm just saying, as someone who was chronically online before chronically online was a thing, I saw the rise of introvert and its correlation with Owl City with my own eyes. Next was something that also was happening around 2009, 2010, the Vanilla Twilight rumors. Vanilla Twilight is a song off of Ocean Eyes, the third Owl City album. I rambled for like 10 years before I got to the point. Basically, there were two Owl City albums that came out before Ocean Eyes. There was Of June and Maybe I'm Dreaming, but some people consider Of June an EP. So technically, Ocean Eyes was his sophomore album. Back to the video. So the Vanilla Twilight rumors existed in one place and one place only, the YouTube comments section under the song. Because also that was something I used to do. There wasn't like Spotify or Pandora. You would just go to YouTube and play music if you didn't like have it on iTunes. If you didn't purchase the album or download it illegally, you would just go on YouTube and like click play because there weren't a billion ads, and just listen to music that way while you were, I don't know, on Club Penguin, whatever I was doing. Someone said that the song was about a girlfriend of his that passed away. Where that idea came from, I have no idea. This was entirely made up, but everyone just blindly believed it because, okay, someone said it and it must be true. It's the internet. And we believed it for a long time until Adam just said it was about a time he was in a boat on a lake or something like that. I want to say the next thing sort of chronologically was the Postal Service debate. Back when Fireflies was blowing up, people accused him of copying Such Great Heights by the Postal Service. There's maybe a tiny similarity in the beginning, sure, but they are vastly different songs. I don't even think the Postal Service were the ones accusing him. I think it was just fans. Nothing ever came of it. Adam was asked about it in an interview and he said, yeah, it's funny because the more I hear people relating the two, the more I realize that they are pretty similar, even though that wasn't my initial goal or anything. I definitely respect Ben Gibbard and everything he's done. I'm probably a lot more of a Death Cab fan than I am a Postal Service fan. It's an honor to be put in the same sentence with the Postal Service. What they did was incredible. Obviously, I don't know Adam Young in real life. Sure, I dedicated a lot of my adolescent years to learning as much about him as I could because, I don't know, that's just what you do as a kid. You become a fan of somebody and you're like, all right, this is everything to me. I think it was just genuinely a coincidence, and that's kind of it. Next is something that I still think about to this day, and I still have so many thoughts and feelings about, so many years removed. I probably think about it more than the two people involved, and those two people are Adam Young and Taylor Swift. I remember when this dropped, dude. I was there. I was on ground zero for when this happened. Supposedly, Enchanted was written about Adam. She spelled out Adam in the lyrics somehow, and apparently they had had some email exchanges before they met in person. So they were already kind of friendly. He said that he used the word wonderstruck in an email and that she really liked that word, so he thinks that she also used that word in that song as kind of a paying homage to him in their emails. Adam covered the song and then posted it on Valentine's Day as like a grand gesture, according to him and what he was willing to share with us, because he used to share almost everything on his blog. He never heard anything back. She pretty much ghosted him. I love Taylor Swift. I love her music. I, to this day, hold a grudge. The 13-year-old girl in me who so desperately loved Adam Young and just wanted him to be happy. Why would you write a song about him? Not say anything to the man. There are two things I won't forgive Taylor Swift for. Adam Young, first and foremost. Second, Tom Hiddleston. I need her to stop hurting the men that I had major crushes on back in the day. So the next thing I want to talk about is that Owl City had his own app. Yeah. It's a fever dream. I barely remember what was on it because it won't even open anymore. I still have the app icon on my phone. I don't think it's been updated since I had an iPod Touch. It had a song that would play right when you open it, like a MySpace page. And the song was about an ex-girlfriend named Anne Marie. And it was a beautiful and sad song. It's just, I don't know why that song was chosen to play on his like social media app. There was a chat feature, but hardly anyone used it because of course. And that's almost all that I remember about it. Adam also would have like top 10 lists of top 10 random things that are lost to the ether because I can't open the app and they weren't published anywhere else. It was called the Owl City Galaxy and it was space themed. That's about it. But yeah, he had his own app for like a while. I was on it probably every day, just cruising, checking to see if he posted a top 10 list because they were kind of few and far between. So the next album that came out was an album called All Things Bright and Beautiful. It was so exciting when the album came out. If you loved Owl City, you were not disappointed with this album, at least in my circle of friends, which I'll get to. So during the All Things Bright and Beautiful tour in Europe, the touring band did live streams on some app. It wasn't even like an app that exists anymore, I don't think. And during one of those live streams, me and about 4 or 5 other girls decided to just be friends and create a Facebook group. When I tell you we were on that thing all day, every day, I didn't use Facebook for anything else. We shared memes and we had sappy feelings about music or Adam in general. We would try to find like pictures of Adam that we hadn't seen before. That was why I got a Tumblr. I have a Tumblr because of Owl City, because I found that Tumblr had pictures of him or of like stage stuff or lyrics or memes about Owl City, and I would screenshot those and post them to our Facebook group because pictures of him were still surprisingly rare-ish. He didn't post selfies all that much, and he didn't then, nor does he still now, have a real social media presence other than his insane tweets at the time. But when I tell you that the people in this group became some of my closest friends when I was about 15, I'm still in touch with a good few of them over a decade later. We still talk from time to time. We follow each other on Instagram and Facebook, and it's like we've gotten to grow up together, all because we shared this one little thing, this interest in music and this guy who made the music. And I remember we would share our whole lives in that Facebook group. Of course, we talked about Owl City, but we shared like everything. How our day went, what was upsetting us that day, what things made us happy that day. For a while, we were like posting pictures and stuff from our hometowns because everyone in that group we were all so far away from each other. Like we were all in different countries. There's one girl I'm still in touch with who's in the Netherlands, plenty from England, one from Germany, I think. And then, some people scattered throughout America. So we would like share little things from our lives and like little pictures and videos of where we were. This isn't even really about Owl City anymore, I guess, but other than just how cool that connection was over something like Owl City. And as much as I I have videos of 21 Pilots on this channel, and as much as I love 21 Pilots, nothing will ever compare to the Owl City community that I had growing up. And I will be forever thankful for that community and for Adam Young for making music that resonated so deeply with us then and now. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get back to Tumblr. The entire reason I even got a Tumblr was for Owl City. I got sucked into Super Hulock because of Owl City, and Adam will be hearing from my lawyer. During that time, he had a secret Tumblr account that we knew existed just because he would say things or post things that like were relevant to what we were talking about on Tumblr, or like some inside jokes. So we knew he was around. We found out, gosh, probably a year later of our suspicions, that he had an account called Modern Gardening where he would just post really boring basic modern gardening things so that no one suspected that's who that was. Fans post insane stuff, not really ever thinking that the person they're a fan of is gonna see it, right? I have noticed in a lot of the fan bases that I've been in, there's always like a couple older people who decide to kind of take care of the younger fans. Like if you were a 21 Pilots fan during the early years, or like up through Blurry Face even, there was a man who called himself David the Dad, and he was just the coolest person, and he would go to so many shows, and he was such a like genuinely sweet presence. I got to have like a long conversation with him at one show. You didn't ask. Anyway, there was someone called Mama Hoot Owl. That was her name on Tumblr. I don't think I ever learned her real name. She was just a cool mom. She had kids that loved Owl City, and so she wanted to connect with them and, you know, be a part of that, and then ended up loving it so much that she started a Tumblr so she could, I don't know, sometimes this used to be like a thing where every now and then there was an older person that was just chill. Now, if I saw that, I would be like, what are you doing talking to kids? I have been on Tumblr for way too long that scrolling back to, gosh, the beginning of my blog, I'm not doing that. The one thing I will show you is this screenshot I have from probably my iPod Touch or my iPhone 4. Basically, this was a picture of Adam Young wearing like the same tank top over and over again, and someone just said, Adam needs more shirts. Mama Hoot Owl replied, newsflash, men get very attached to their clothing. As a wife, be reconciled to the fact that you will not be able to make your husband part with anything until the fabric has worn down to the molecular level. I replied, I don't know. If, oh my god, I can't read this. If Adam, I'm like 14 or 15 saying this. I don't know, if Adam ran out of shirts, would that really be such a bad thing? Ice bucket. She used to post that ice bucket under every single Tumblr post where we were being thirsty for Adam as like these adolescent girls. It was just such a cute running joke, and I always wanted to know what happened to her. Mama Hoot Owl, if you see this, I miss you. I hope you're doing well. I hope the kids are well. Something that's relevant to the ice bucket and the talking about the shirts thing was Adam got buff out of nowhere. This was during the All Things Bright and Beautiful era. So I'm going to show you a picture of like the Adam we were used to. I mean this with all love and sincerity, Adam, if you see this. He was a scrawny guy, you know, he wasn't like super fit. That's the Owl City that we all knew. And then I swear it was like 2 months passed, and then this shows up. It's the Fireflies guy. I don't know who this is. So going kind of back to the LOL random phase, his Twitter used to be insane. And I discovered while making this video that he deleted every tweet from before 2016. Those belonged in the MoMA, and you deleted them. You destroyed artifacts that are important to human history, and I will never forgive Adam for that. He had insomnia, and he would take Ambien to try to sleep, and there were times when the Ambien didn't quite work how it was supposed to, so he was still awake, but Ambien makes you like crazy. I know this because I once took an Ambien in an airport during a 12-hour layover. I was gonna try to sleep on the ground. I ended up dozing for like 30 minutes, then I was just awake. And I remember forgetting how to walk, focusing on walking, following a group of friends to get food, and then no memory for like the next 12, 15 hours. I was with people, I was conscious. I don't know what I said or did. During that time that Adam was awake on Ambien, he would tweet the most insane stuff, and I can't find proof of it. But anyway, I did save one tweet. I have a screenshot in 2013. You can't hide from me, Adam. I have records. Can't wait till I get married so I can come home late from work and surprise my wife by chopping through the bedroom door with an axe. 1:26 a.m. So that was probably an Ambien tweet. I want to touch on something that's kind of sensitive. I don't really know how much I want to talk about this because I don't think it's fair to drag up something as rough as this nearly a decade later, but I just have a feeling that someone might bring it up because this video exists. Someone might Google something, see something, and bring it up just to try to start something, you know, like bringing up old stuff to try to start a new argument. I'll remind you, Owl City is one person, it's Adam Young. But obviously when he goes on tour, he can't play every instrument himself. He has a touring band. There was a man in the touring band who spoke to younger girls in an inappropriate way. There was one girl that brought it to everyone's attention specifically. I knew the girl when it happened. I followed her on Tumblr, and out of respect for her and respect for Adam, I don't want to drag this through the mud. The minute that, you know, the touring manager and Adam got wind of it, this guy was fired. He was let go. He no longer tours with Owl City. I don't really know what came of the trial. I just know that he was arrested and I think on probation for a couple of years, which got off easy, but he is no longer associated with Owl City, and I don't think it's fair to hold that against Adam Young. I don't believe he knew anything about it. I just wanted to bring that up just to throw it in here, but I didn't want it brought up in a way that was inflammatory, I guess. So during 2013, there were rumors that Adam had actually made some of the new ringtones that came out with iOS 7. There was even this screenshot from his laptop, I think that he was one that posted this, that shows that he'd been working on sounds for iOS 7. Apple had asked him to take it down, I'm pretty sure, because it got deleted. Who actually knows? But I choose to believe that he did because he deserves that bag, you feel. The Midsummer Station came out after All Things Bright and Beautiful in 2012. That was when Good Time was released, and that's one of those songs that I feel like was the beginning of Something's Up. We were starting to sense that Adam's record label was kind of pushing him to do things that didn't exactly sound like him, that were more radio friendly. I don't think, you know, Adam made anything he truly didn't like. I don't know. I just know that it started to feel less like Owl City, and I am all for encouraging new sound. It just, that's how it came across to fans, and even the way it was promoted, it just didn't feel like Adam. It was still a good album in a lot of ways, but it just, that was the kind of beginning of, this sounds terrible, the beginning of the end, just the beginning of Something's Up. I don't have a lot to say about that album. I kind of forget about it, unfortunately. Same with Mobile Orchestra. So during 2015, Mobile Orchestra came out. This album is tough. I remember when it came out, a lot of us had mixed feelings about it. After 2015, he kind of went radio silent for a while. He spent 2016 independently releasing an entire album every month of movie scores. He would just make up a story in his head and then make a movie score for it. And they were all genuinely so good. One of them was based on like the moon landing, and he did it just to try his hand at it because he'd always said that he would want to do movie scores, and that was something that he loves to listen to. Also, low-key, a lot of us thought he was doing it as a way to run out the clock on his contract because he didn't release any Owl City stuff. This was Adam Young on his own. So basically, before Ocean Eyes came out, he got signed to Universal. And obviously, Ocean Eyes, smash hit. That seemed like Universal let him kind of run off on his own with that, do whatever he wanted. Then All Things Bright and Beautiful came out. It was a smash hit with one exception in my eyes, and that's Alligator Sky. So there was the official version, which had a rap verse, basically trying to mimic the like Airplanes featuring Hayley Williams feel, which he admitted was the inspiration for the song. But he also released a version later that was just him. He filled in the rap verse with just more melody, which leads me to believe that he might have been pressured by his record label to make a song that they wanted to hit the radios like Airplanes did. It could be that Adam was experimenting with the rap, thought that his fans wouldn't like it, maybe, so he released the regular version to kind of be a substitute if they didn't like the rap. I don't think he didn't like this song. I'll never know how he thinks or feels. I do wonder if it would exist had he not been signed to a label. So the albums that came out after All Things Bright and Beautiful definitely had a different vibe than the stuff you would come to expect from Owl City. And that's not to say that an artist can't grow or change their craft. However, some of the songs sounded like they were purely meant to be on the radio and not something Adam really put his heart in, like Good Time. So he took a crazy long hiatus. Then in 2018, 10 years after he signed on with Universal, and he's no longer under that contract. In 2018, he dropped an album, and that album is still very different from his old stuff in many ways, but it felt like Owl City again. There's a couple of songs on it that I'm not like a super big fan of, but I still like can appreciate them and appreciate that they came from Adam Young and not from pressure from a record label to make whatever. He even dropped what I would consider a diss track for Universal called Fiji Water. I just realized while editing this video that this song that I'm calling a diss track is the first song on this album. He opens the album with a diss track about his previous record label. Hey, thanks for the weekend. A good time was had by all. I'd say, hey, thanks for the weekend. I ain't a spin doctor, but thanks for the offer. I feel like he hides behind this like shy boy persona. My guy went for blood. He went for the jugular. And Cinematic's been out since 2018, and of course it's been a while. It's 2022. But another thing that inspired this video is he's about to drop new music. He's been hinting on Instagram that he's doing this scavenger hunt thing that I have not participated in because I am 26 years old, I have a full-time job, I pay taxes, and I'm tired, all right? I got 2 kids. They're both cats. I'm a single mother. I gotta take care of them. It's very 21 Pilots-esque, and while I was able to do that for 21 Pilots back when Trench came out, I don't have it in me anymore to keep up with online scavenger hunts and riddles. Godspeed to the kids that do it. I can't wait for you to find whatever it is and then share it with us. So I can't wait to see what he's gonna do next. Having been gone for so long, it better be an incredible album. Why do all my favorite artists take forever to make music? Just please take a page out of Taylor Swift's book and drop 3 albums in 1 year. Over the course of writing this video, I've realized just how much of my life was shaped by Owl City, by that one evening in my best friend's bedroom, a girl that I haven't spoken to since I graduated high school in 2014, and a room that is probably no longer Smurf blue, but whatever color the new owners have painted it since she moved. Music is so cool. Anyway, I hope maybe you learned something from this video, that it fills up valuable space in your brain that you could use for otherwise more important information, because this is what my brain's filled with. I'm endlessly frustrated by my intellectual shortcomings, but I'm having a blast. Anyway, thank you for watching. I sometimes stream on Twitch. I try to stream at least once a week, but I'm been inconsistent lately. I'm working on it. All right, I'm gonna go find something else that really doesn't matter, and I'm gonna get really worked up about it for no reason and scream in a camera and upload it in a month. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.